Today, I'm looking at one of the most underrated super strats out there. Let's check this thing out. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As I mentioned, I am checking out a really underrated super strat. So what exactly is this guitar? Well, this is a guitar made by CORT. Now, every once in a while, I run into a guitar that's absolutely specced out to the moon. And such is the case with this G300. There's no high-end spec that has been overlooked on this guitar, which is why I think it's one of the more underrated super strats out there. Starting up on the headstock, of course, as you would expect, locking tuners. These are staggered in height, which is really nice, which means 6th string and 5th string are kind of higher and then lower, which gives you the perfect tension in the nut, but not too much that it causes tuning issues. This is a Graph Tech nut, so that's perfect. It's cut beautifully well, I've got to say. So nice high-end, appointment on the nut, locking tuners. Ebony fingerboard, 24 stainless steel frets. And when we look at the fret ends, they're nice and shiny. I can't see any visible filing marks and stuff like that. So stainless steel frets, they're going to last a lifetime. They're super slinky right out of the factory, no grittiness, just really smooth bending and sliding, which is awesome. In terms of the neck, it's a mahogany neck with graphite reinforcements, and it is compound radius, which means a little bit more radius down here and then flatter as you go up here to solo. So that's nice. Satin on the neck. Did I say carbon fiber reinforcements rods? I probably did, but profile is somewhere in between like Fender and Ibanez. Not quite as round as Fender, but definitely not like super shreddy. So beautiful to play on, silky smooth, mahogany. When we talk about the body, we've got a 1/4 inch maple top. That's an upgrade over previous CORTs, which sometimes just had a veneer. So here we have a proper maple cap with a mahogany body. Now, as for the rest of the body, I think this is a first for the G300 series. We've got Seymour Duncan pickups. That's a really nice upgrade. It's wired to a 5-way switch, so we've got some coil splits and different combinations. We'll take a listen in a second. A 2-point trem, very responsive. We'll listen to that in a second as well. And other than that, yeah, it's a chambered mahogany body with a ton of comfort cuts. This one came in at a very respectable 7.6 pounds, so decently light for sure. Yeah, and anyways, I'll link to it in the video description below. I'm sure there's other specs I forgot to mention because like I said, it's just a litany of high-end specs. So let's take a listen to this guitar and then we'll be back with my final thoughts. Yeah, those pinched harmonics and the tapped harmonics just leap off this guitar. No problems at all. For a super strat, these pickups are absolutely perfect. Like I said, you can just get those screaming tones. Let's try the neck pickup a little bit as well. All right, you guys, now let's try some clean tones. We'll go from the neck pickup to the bridge. Here we go. So here are my final thoughts on the CORT G300 Glam. Now, number one, super happy that CORT keeps upgrading their G300 line. It's a great line of guitars, and I felt like the original G300 Pro was underrated. I feel like this guitar is still flying under the radar, but it's an excellent instrument. And you got upgrades like the Seymour Duncan pickups, the 1/4 inch maple top, the chambered body so that it brings the weight down a little bit. And, you know, you add it to the existing features like, you know, that satin neck, carbon reinforcement rods, compound radius, stainless steel frets, locking tuners, on and on and on you go. So, you know, I'm thinking to myself, if I were to build a parts caster and include, you know, the specs of this guitar, it would cost me, building it myself and doing all that stuff, at least $2,000. And this guitar here retails for about $1,000, somewhere between $1,000 and $1,100 is what you can expect for the G300 Glam. So, you know, it just prices itself in that sweet spot where you're getting super high-end features, but for a really reasonable price. Now, as for potential downsides to the Glam, I can think of a couple. Number one, well, it doesn't have the prestige of a high-end Japanese super Strat. Now, does it play like one and does it have the same features? Absolutely. And is it half price at least of those guitars? Absolutely. But it does say CORT on the headstock and not something else. So bear that in mind. There's always going to be that issue of prestige when it comes to like brand recognition and stuff like that. Now, if you blindfolded me, handed me this guitar and said it was a $2,500 Ibanez or something like that, I would believe you. That's how good this guitar is. It's an excellent, excellent guitar at a very, very good price point, which is why I think it is definitely an underrated super Strat. And the final potential downside, or it is a downside to me, is the pots. They still are using dime-sized pots. And in a guitar that is this exquisite in every other way and high-end in every other way, that's the only, you know, fly in the ointment. Why they're still using small dime-sized pots in a guitar like this, which is like, yeah, it's just a playing machine. It's a wonderful, wonderful guitar. Kind of boggles the mind. It's like, you know, just give it high-end CTS pots and call it a day. You know, it's not going to add to the price that much. But there you go. That's really my downsides. Other than that, this guitar is an absolute joy to play. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I will link to the CORT down in the video description below. You can check it out down there if you're so inclined. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, consider doing so. We got lots of great guitar content lined up for you guys. And other than that, hope you have a great day. Take care.